Scroll through your social media feed, turn on a news channel, or even eavesdrop on a conversation at a local coffee shop. What was once a space for sharing ideas, debating perspectives, and finding common ground has morphed into something quite different. The internet, once hailed as a democratizing force for communication, now often amplifies the angriest voices, creating echo chambers where nuanced discussion goes to die. Political debates, once marked by passionate yet reasoned arguments, often devolve into shouting matches, personal attacks, and a relentless pursuit of gotcha moments. It's impossible to ignore the shift. The very fabric of how we interact, how we engage in discourse, seems frayed at the edges, threatening to unravel entirely. Disagreement, a natural and necessary part of any diverse society, has become synonymous with disrespect, anger, and hostility. We seem to have lost sight of the fact that it's possible to disagree with someone's ideas without attacking their character or questioning their worth. The decline of civility manifests in many forms. It's in the online comments section where anonymity emboldens vitriol, and disagreements escalate into personal attacks. It's in the political arena where opponents are demonized and compromise is seen as weakness. It's in our daily lives where differences lead to fractured friendships. Yet the absence of heated exchanges doesn't signal civility. A new trend has emerged, the silent standoff. Fearful of judgment, many choose silence over voicing opinions. This silence can be as detrimental as open hostility. The consequences of this decline in civility extend far beyond hurt feelings or awkward social encounters. When we lose the ability to engage in respectful disagreement, we chip away at the very foundations of a functioning society. Democracy thrives on the free exchange of ideas, on the ability of citizens to engage in reasoned debate and hold their leaders accountable. When discourse breaks down, so too does our ability to govern effectively and address the complex challenges we face. The erosion of civility also has profound implications for our personal lives. It breeds distrust, suspicion, and a sense of isolation. When we view those who hold different opinions as adversaries to be vanquished, rather than fellow human beings with whom we might find common ground, we create a climate of fear and division. The stakes are high, but the situation is far from hopeless. Just as we've learned to be uncivil, we can relearn the art of respectful disagreement. It will require conscious effort, a willingness to challenge our own biases, and a commitment to listening to and engaging with those who see the world differently than we do. This is not a call for a return to some idyllic past, nor is it about silencing dissenting voices. It's about recognizing that true progress, both individually and collectively, requires us to engage with the messy, challenging, and often uncomfortable reality of differing perspectives. It demands that we approach disagreements with curiosity rather than contempt, seeking to understand rather than to demonize. While the decline of civility may feel like a uniquely modern phenomenon, it's essential to recognize that this is not simply a Western problem. Societies are grappling with rising polarization and distrust. From Hong Kong to European Parliament, respectful disagreement feels rare. Globalization has created new tensions and heightened cultural awareness. This often leads to misunderstandings and clashes of values. Rapid change and technological advancements create anxiety. This makes people more susceptible to divisive rhetoric. Populism and nationalism exploit social divisions. Leaders who appeal to fear erode trust further. Understanding the global nature of the civility crisis is crucial. We need a nuanced approach to find solutions. By engaging in cross-cultural dialogue, we can share strategies for rebuilding trust. The digital amplifier, how technology shapes our discourse. The digital age has fundamentally altered the way we communicate, often exacerbating existing problems and creating new challenges. Social media platforms designed to connect people have ironically become breeding grounds for division and hostility. Algorithms trap us in echo chambers, feeding us information that confirms our biases. The anonymity online emboldens users to engage in behavior they would never dream of in face-to-face interactions. Trolls thrive, spreading hate speech and misinformation. The loudest voices often drown out reasoned debate. The 24/7 news cycle prioritizes sensationalism over accuracy. Headlines grab attention, sacrificing context and fairness. This constant negativity can create a distorted view of the world. Technology is a tool and it can be used for good or ill. The digital age holds the potential to facilitate more constructive engagement. By promoting media literacy and ethical algorithms, we can harness technology to bridge divides. Section 3. Lost in translation, cultural nuances and global misunderstandings. In an interconnected world, misunderstandings and cultural clashes are amplified. A harmless joke in one culture could be deeply offensive in another. Communication styles vary widely, with some valuing directness and others diplomacy. These differences can lead to misinterpretations and escalating tensions. The digital age doesn't always make things easier. Nuance and tone are easily lost in translation. A sarcastic comment can be perceived as a serious insult. A cultural reference can be completely lost, leading to confusion. Overcoming these challenges requires humility and a desire to understand. The power of perspective. Learning from different approaches to disagreement. Civility is not a lost cause. Societies have found ways to rebuild trust and foster respectful engagement. Examining other cultures can help navigate our own challenges. Eastern cultures emphasize harmony and social cohesion. Disagreement is handled with subtlety and discretion. Dissenting voices are expressed with respect for the group. Indigenous cultures use storytelling to find common ground. They emphasize shared experiences and respect for the natural world. Solutions benefit the collective good. We can learn about listening, empathy, and finding common ground. These practices offer insights for a more civil public square. The information age. Irony, more connection, less understanding. We live in an era of unprecedented access to information. Yet, paradoxically, this information overload seems to be driving us further apart rather than bringing us closer together. Instead of fostering greater understanding, the internet has become a breeding ground for misinformation, conspiracy theories, and echo chambers. Social media algorithms prioritize sensationalized content, rewarding outrage over thoughtful deliberation. As we retreat into our own information bubbles, our ability to understand and empathize with different views diminishes. The rise of the outrage industrial complex, profiting from polarization. The digital age has played a role in the decline of civility, but technology is not the sole culprit. The outrage industrial complex profits from stoking division and fueling outrage. Sensationalized headlines and inflammatory rhetoric have become the norm. This constant diet of outrage has a corrosive effect on public discourse. It normalizes hostility and desensitizes us to extreme language. Breaking free requires a conscious effort to be discerning consumers of information. The allure of us versus them, the psychology of tribalism. The human brain is wired for connection and belonging. While this tribal instinct fosters cooperation within groups, it can also lead to intergroup conflict and prejudice. Overcoming this instinct requires recognizing our biases and engaging with different viewpoints. Our shared humanity transcends any differences in ideology, belief, or background. The fear factor, the high cost of speaking out in a culture of public shaming. Social media has created a culture of public shaming, making people hesitant to speak their minds. This fear leads to self-censorship and stifles meaningful conversations. Creating a safe space for diverse viewpoints requires tolerance, empathy, and respect. The free exchange of ideas is essential for a healthy society. The erosion of trust, from public institutions to personal relationships. Incivility erodes trust in others and in public institutions. This lack of trust makes it difficult to address collective challenges and maintain social cohesion. Friendships fracture over political disagreements and family gatherings become tense. This lack of trust increases stress, anxiety, and loneliness. Rebuilding trust requires fostering dialogue and understanding. Paralyzed progress. The high cost of political dysfunction. Political gridlock and dysfunction threaten democratic governance. Hyperpartisanship and social media echo chambers exacerbate this problem. Extreme voices are amplified, drowning out moderate ones. This political dysfunction leads to apathy, cynicism, and extremism. Finding common ground is essential for a functioning democracy. The erosion of civility undermines the social fabric of our communities. Local issues can escalate into bitter battles, fragmenting communities. This lack of social cohesion leads to a decline in civic engagement and fuels prejudice. Rebuilding community requires fostering dialogue, empathy, and understanding. We must recognize that we are all part of a larger community with shared interests. The decline of civility takes a significant toll on our individual well-being. Constant conflict and negativity are damaging to mental and emotional health. Exposure to incivility can lead to anxiety, depression, and burnout. The impact is particularly pronounced among young people exposed to online aggression. Fostering a culture of empathy and respect is essential for mental well-being. The narratives surrounding the civility crisis often focus on division. It's important to highlight stories of individuals and communities working to bridge divides. In a small town, residents organized listening circles to share personal stories. They discovered shared values and common experiences, fostering empathy and understanding. In another case, opposing political voices engaged in dialogue and found common ground. These stories offer hope and demonstrate the possibility of connection. Even in a divided world, empathy and understanding can prevail. Building bridges, not walls initiatives that foster dialogue and empathy. Grassroots organizations and educational institutions are developing programs to bridge divides. One program brings together high school students for a course on dialogue and conflict resolution. Another initiative promotes media literacy and critical thinking to combat misinformation. These programs equip individuals with the skills to engage constructively with different views. Practical steps for everyday civility. Cultivating respect in a divided world. Civility requires conscious effort and a commitment to treating others with respect. Cultivating the art of listening is essential for meaningful dialogue. Assuming good intentions helps to bridge divides and foster understanding. Mindful language use can de-escalate conflict and promote productive dialogue. Each of us has a role in rebuilding a culture of civility. Reclaiming our digital spaces, from echo chambers to public squares. The digital age presents unique challenges to civility. Social media often amplifies our worst impulses, creating echo chambers. Technology can also be part of the solution. Transforming digital spaces into public squares for respectful debate is crucial. This begins with individual responsibility. Be conscious consumers and creators of online content. Seek out diverse perspectives. Engage with different views to understand, not to win. Pause before sending that angry comment. Platforms must foster healthier online environments. Redesign algorithms to promote thoughtful interaction. Fact-checking and media literacy combat misinformation. Encourage respectful dialogue through community moderation. Imagine a digital world where platforms encourage diverse feeds, integrate fact-checks into news, and celebrate thoughtful debate and engagement. Foster environments where disagreements are aired respectfully, value nuance and complexity, and prioritize truth and understanding over outrage. Section 2. Teaching Civility, equipping the next generation for constructive dialogue. While addressing the current state of incivility requires a multi-pronged approach, investing in the next generation is paramount. Young people growing up in a world saturated with digital noise and often witnessing the worst of adult behavior online and offline need to be equipped with the skills and the values necessary to navigate disagreements constructively and to become responsible digital citizens. Civility, like any other skill, can be taught and learned. Incorporating lessons on respectful communication, conflict resolution, and media literacy into school curricula is essential. Imagine classrooms transformed into mini public squares, where students engage in respectful debates, learn to listen actively, and practice expressing their own views with clarity and empathy. Beyond the classroom, extracurricular activities, mentorship programs, and community engagement initiatives can provide young people with opportunities to put these skills into practice. Imagine youth groups organizing community forums on local issues, students volunteering to facilitate intergenerational dialogues, or online platforms designed specifically for young people to engage in constructive debates on topics that matter to them. Teaching civility is not about indoctrinating young people into a particular ideology or stifling their voices. It's about empowering them to become active, engaged citizens who can think critically, communicate effectively, and approach disagreements with respect and a willingness to understand. It's about equipping them to be the architects of a more civil and compassionate future, both online and offline. The power of ritual, creating spaces for respectful disagreement. Human beings are ritualistic creatures. Throughout history, we have relied on rituals to mark significant events and reinforce social bonds. We can harness the power of ritual to create spaces where respectful disagreement is encouraged. Imagine a town hall meeting with structured dialogue, ensuring all voices are heard. Picture a family dinner table sharing gratitude or discussing art. These rituals create a container for disagreement, encouraging respectful listening and empathy. Establishing clear guidelines lowers emotional temperature and reduces personal attacks. The key is to create intentional spaces where respectful dialogue is an embedded practice. Embracing discomfort and choosing hope. Rebuilding civility requires courage. The courage to listen to challenging viewpoints, to acknowledge our biases, and to speak up against injustice. It means extending grace and understanding. Resist the allure of outrage and the dopamine rush of anger. Embrace discomfort for true change. Choose courage, choose hope, choose civility. The art of disagreement. A vital skill for a fragile world. We stand at a crossroads, facing a world teetering between connection and division. The cacophony of outrage and echo chambers of intolerance threaten to drown out voices of reason and hope. Our ability to disagree respectfully is a vital skill for navigating our interconnected world. The challenges we face demand collaboration and a willingness to listen to different perspectives. None of this is possible in a climate of hostility and fear. Relearning the art of disagreement is about engaging with differing perspectives. It demands curiosity and understanding rather than contempt. Rediscovering this art, we rediscover our shared humanity and capacity for empathy. Section 2. Beyond Words. Embracing the actions of civility. Civility is more than just a set of manners or a code of polite conduct. It is an active practice, a conscious choice we make in every interaction to treat others with respect, empathy, and understanding, even when, especially when, we disagree. It's about recognizing that words have power and the way we communicate can either escalate conflict or build bridges of understanding. Beyond our words, our actions speak volumes. It's in the simple gestures of everyday life that we truly demonstrate our commitment to civility, listening attentively when someone is speaking, even if we disagree with what they're saying, seeking out diverse perspectives and engaging with them thoughtfully, challenging prejudice and discrimination whenever and wherever we encounter it, and extending grace and forgiveness to those who have wronged us, recognizing that we all make mistakes. These acts of civility, however small they may seem, have a ripple effect. They create a more peaceful and harmonious environment, not just for ourselves, but also for those around us. They demonstrate that it is possible to disagree respectfully, to find common ground amidst difference, and to build relationships based on mutual understanding and respect. In a world often defined by division and discord, these acts of everyday civility are not just polite gestures. They are acts of quiet rebellion, a powerful testament to the enduring human capacity for empathy, compassion, and hope. Section 3, Join the Chorus, a call to action for a more respectful world. The journey toward a more civil and compassionate world begins with each of us. It starts with a conscious decision to choose respect over outrage, empathy over apathy, and dialogue over division. It requires us to be willing to challenge our own biases, to listen with open hearts and minds, and to speak up against injustice and intolerance wherever we encounter them. The path forward will not be easy. It will require patience, persistence, and a willingness to embrace discomfort. There will be setbacks and disappointments, moments when the tide of incivility seems overwhelming, but we must not lose heart. For the stakes are too high and the potential rewards too great to give up on the pursuit of a more respectful and understanding world. This is a call to action, an invitation to join a growing chorus of voices demanding a better way forward. Share this message with your friends, your family, your community. Start conversations about civility in your homes, your schools, your workplaces. Support organizations and initiatives that promote dialogue, understanding, and respect. Let us be the generation that chooses hope over cynicism, empathy over apathy, and civility over division. Let us be the ones who, together, bridge the divides, heal the wounds, and build a more just, compassionate, and peaceful world for ourselves and for generations to come.